Coming from a small town to build a $200 million company, raising money from Ratan Tata, breaking multiple stereotypes, and supporting hundreds of young brands and founders. Super excited to welcome to the Founder Academy, Swati Bhargava, co-founder of CashKaro.
We are really proud that, we've given out, 3,000-4,000 crores in cashback so far. That's a lot of money, real money in people's hands. So I requested Vani, can you set up a meeting for us with Mr. Tata? So we got a meeting, we went to Taj Chambers.
In his chambers.
And we sat down to wait. And then the butler came to me and he said, "Ma'am, what do you like to have?"
Wow.
I said, "What do you have? Is there a menu or something?"
Yeah.
And he just looks at me. "Ma'am, this is Mr. Tata's chamber.
We have everything.
Anything is available." Target was to raise $300,000. In 72 hours, we had $750,000.
Wow.
Over the last year, we have driven 3 billion clicks to our partners.
My God.
So the amount of traffic you can get when we start promoting you is insane. Founders who are building companies that go good to great know that when you're getting into a bus, who are the right people to get on the bus, place the right people in the right seats, and then you also have to put the wrong people off the bus. I remember my grandfather, he's no more unfortunately, but he told my dad that, she has not only got admission in LSE, she's also got 80% scholarship. Now you have to figure out how you send her. They could have said कि नहीं हमें तो भेजना ही नहीं लड़की को बाहर.
One thing people don't know about you.
I have 3 kidneys.
Swati, we've been so inspired by your journey of building CashKaro over the last few years. Very excited to host you in the studio today.
Thank you so much. Likewise. I mean, I've been speaking with you offhand and I was telling him, actually, I want to interview you because there's so much I want to learn from you as well.
I think that's like one of your treats, right? Like both you and Rohan, like you're so humble, you're so kind, right? You run such a big company which has so much impact, right? But like, I mean, it's so easy to relate to you guys. So I think
this happens with all founders, because we are startups, and it actually many times people correct me that now that you are employing 450 people, you're no longer a startup, you're more like an SME.
Correct.
I'm like, ab naam jo bhi ho, hard to startup wala hi hai, because the hustle is there and we know ki, like there's so much more to do.
Correct.
So whatever we are doing never seems enough. Correct. And it always feels like there's so much more to do, right?
Yeah.
So
right.
I don't think, so I think most startup founders will be like this only.
Yeah. No, for sure. I mean, Swati, like I would, and obviously like, we've interacted on and off, but, would love to, know from you as well about your personal journey, right? Like, I mean, and it's been an incredible journey, like growing up in Ambala, right? Yeah. Then going to London, studying there, starting up there, right?
Yeah.
And then essentially coming back to India and building CashKaro, right? You know, I mean, just share that journey with us.
So as you said, I grew up in Ambala, and Ambala is a very special place. Many people say कि small town thinking कैसी है ये वो, ऐसा कुछ नहीं है. Ambala में people who are there, they are doing so well. Very large businesses are coming out of Ambala, and the new Ambala has all our counterparts and friends building 500 crore businesses.
Wow.
Right? There's a lot of opportunity. Yeah. So to me, Ambala is actually a rich New York suburb.
Wow.
Where, people are working hard, they're living the good life, they have clean air, they have organic food, right? And they have the money to travel and study abroad and everything. But when I was growing up in Ambala, it was different, right? Because that time, it was very much a small upcoming town, which it still is in that sense, but it's come a long way. And nobody had gone abroad to study that we knew of. So my aspiration always was also कि Ambala से मैं एक दिन Delhi जाऊँगी, right? Which is as far as I could even think actually. But I was always good in studies, and class 10 mein I got 100 on 100 in maths.
Wow.
So yeah, I don't know if I would take that exam today, if it will happen. I think today's kids are also next level, by the way. But anyway, so that time we were going to Allahabad to see my Nana Nani, and my dad was like, there's an advertisement for Singapore Airlines scholarship in the paper, why don't you apply? And I was like, they're going to take 25 people from all over India. What are the chances that a girl from Ambala is going to be one of them, right? And that also, I'm sure that they are, they are much more advanced compared to me in many things. But then as soon as I was saying that, I was also realizing ki, why am I saying that? I'm already discounting myself. I'm already saying that I'm not good enough. And if I think I'm not good enough, how will anyone else ever think I am?
Yeah.
Right? So I should think that, okay, at least I want to compete. I want to know where I stand.
Yeah.
So I filled that application. Fortunately, I got through to the next round. We went to The first time I think we went to Maurya's in Delhi. We
Wow.
drove from Ambala in the morning, right? Left at 6 a.m., reached at 11:30
Your
is
parents
my
would be
exam.
so proud. Yeah.
Exactly, that kind of thing, right? Where you are all going, chalo ladki ko test karane le ja rahe
Yeah.
aaj, you know, that kind of thing. But they were very supportive because they could have said कि नहीं हमें तो भेजना ही नहीं लड़की को बाहर and ये सब करने की जरूरत नहीं है.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
they always supported me, and today when I look in fact at people and girls where they don't have that opportunity, I realize that actually how supportive my parents were.
Yeah.
You know, they got me to Delhi not only for admissions but later for shopping as well.
Wow.
Because I needed clothes to go to London as well. But anyway, so I did that. I got through, and I remember in my last round in Singapore, for the scholarship, I was being interviewed by a senior principal of Singapore. So she asked me ki, how much did you score in mathematics Olympiad? I said, I'm sorry, I've not taken that. Then she said, how about chemistry Olympiad? Then I told her, you know, I said, look, I'm from a small town. I don't know about these exams. But if you look at whatever opportunities I've had, I've excelled in all of them. And
Wow.
I'm as hungry as you will find anyone.
Amazing
So if you
answer.
give me this opportunity, I will make a lot more of it because it means that much more to me. It's my only ticket to get out.
Yeah.
And it's my only ticket to make my own name and do something different.
Yeah.
And I think that chat with her at the end is probably what got me the scholarship. Because while I had the numbers in 10th class, but I didn't have a lot of these other things that, you know, the Delhi people were exposed to.
Yeah.
They were already going for Vidya Mandir classes. I had no idea we of Vidya Mandir, you know. So it was different in that sense. But I think opportunity knocks on your door, right? And as they say, you need to listen. And I think it was that opportunity for us. And then when we got the scholarship, I remember holding that letter and everybody is like quiet around कि ये तो आ गई scholarship. अभी we have to decide कि जाएगी ना जाएगी. सोचा नहीं था कि आ जाएगी, you know. But then, anyways, I went and that was a game changer. And then
So you went to Singapore?
I went to Singapore. I did my 11th, 12th there in National Junior College. So they placed all the 25 scholars, as we were called, in different colleges. And Singapore's objective, basically, of doing that was to attract talent to the country.
Correct.
And then later on, most people, in fact, stayed on to do university in Singapore. But at 11, 12, there is no bond. So it's called a bond ki matlab you don't have any commitment to stay back. You can study for 2 years, fully funded education, living, everything, and you can go.
Yeah.
So
Experience of a lifetime.
Exactly, right?
Yeah.
Because it's a fully paid scholarship that
Correct,
also.
correct.
So it was good, and I remember we used to, I mean, we have so many memories. It was my first time of going, but the beauty is that all of us, it was our first time. You know, so 8, 9 of us who were in each JC, we became like a little family to each other over there. And you know, we used to live in this hostel of CJC, and there was a warden there, Auntie April. She had a huge dog. Every time, only once a week the phone call was allowed from home. So everybody would be in their flats, and then Sunday ko jab phone aa gaya, Swati, your phone has come 4 floors. I used to run down to talk to my parents, right? Because there was no mobile phone at that time.
Correct.
And you run back up 4 floors because phone cut gaya. Then you run back down 4 floors.
My God.
So all of that, we've all seen that. And I mean, to the generation now where today I heard Tim Cook say that, we've made the iPhone to make your life better. If you decide to stick to it every minute, it's not my fault. So it's that time of change we've seen. Anyway, after that, I applied in different colleges. I got through to Oxford and LSE. Oxford didn't have any scholarship, but LSE I got through with an 80% scholarship.
Wow.
Yeah, so that's when, I remember my grandfather, he's no more unfortunately, but he told my dad that, she has not only got admission in LSE, she's also got 80% scholarship.
Yeah.
Now you have to figure out how you send her.
Correct.
I don't know which family wealth you use from where, but
Yeah.
she has to go to LSE. He was very pro-education. And I think that has been a very important factor in my life when, the elders in your house are pro-education, pro-career, pro-ambition.
Yeah.
I feel that right now, a lot of the women and the young girls, they don't get that. At home, they get to hear कि तूने करना है क्या, पढ़ लिख के अफसर बनना है, शादी तो करनी है, MBA कर लो ताकि अच्छा लड़का मिल जाए.
Correct.
A lot of such stereotypes are there for women as they grow up.
Correct.
And I think it's the society around us, that tells us somewhere that the women's career is not important. But I'm glad that in my family, I got that support where it was important. So my parents saved and sent me to college for the rest, because London living wasn't easy either.
Correct.
And then in LSE I used to do all sorts of part-time jobs.
Wow.
So one of the jobs I did was with this Yugoslavian guy who had put up a notice saying looking for secretary, £10 an hour. I was like, £10 an hour is a lot of money.
Yeah,
I will do secretarial work, it's not a big deal.
Correct.
So he used to bring all his papers to the LSE cafeteria because I was also like in my mind, I have to be safe and I don't know. So I used to call my employer to my cafeteria only in LSE, and he had English problems now. So I would look through all his papers and work through everything.
Interesting.
And bill him like 40-50 pounds. And that's how I made my money in LSE. So I remember when I had to go for my Goldman interview, I wanted to buy a new suit and buy a new shirt. So I went to Next because that was the the brand I was looking at that time. And uske pehle 2 days I did a lot of this part-time work because I like 50 pounds ki to meri sirf shirt hai. Like I need to do this, So I did all of that, and I think and
I think that's the entrepreneurial hustle, right? Like, I mean, like you were not a founder at that time, but I think like pursuing all of this, like making it to Singapore, then I mean, like the 2 years at LSE, like doing all of this, right? Like that's what builds you that hustle and that character.
Yeah. I think the entrepreneurship maybe also started where in LSE, there was this LSE Business Society. It was the largest society on campus with 3,000 students, and I was president of that society. Right, so for an Indian girl to be heading the largest society, European campus, and LSE had 170 nationalities studying there. Yeah. So it's a very diverse mix.
Correct.
So somewhere you need to think about, okay, how will my society earn? How will it spend? What kind of marketing are we doing? So we're already thinking in that direction. Yeah. But I never really put the dots together then. Yeah.
And then how did it evolve? Like, so did you work at Goldman for some time before? I mean, before starting pouring pounds, was it that time?
Yeah. At LSE, I always say that at LSE, when you're walking down Houghton Street, which is the main part of LSE, it's called that. Like investment banking hits you from all sides. So when I started at LSE, I used to see posters of JP Morgan coming, Deloitte, Goldman. I was like, क्या ये companies क्या काम करती है, right? So like घर पे बहुत मुश्किल होता था समझाना कि Goldman क्या करती है, because it's like कि ठीक है तो buying and selling companies, हाँ, but that's only M&A. There's structured credit, there's there's FIG, there's so many other things, So, but what I did understand was that this is an amazing brand name. It pays you very well. I need some money to pay back, to make also my parents feel like it was worth it, and that's why I never wanted to do a master's. I wanted undergrad ke baad I should get a good job. And things come together so well. Like I remember in my first year at LSE, I took a French class. So I was sitting next to a girl in French class, Indian girl, who was like, I need to go home early. I have to fill a Goldman application. I'm like, what for? So she's like, there's an Easter internship which Goldman has launched only for first years. So I'm applying for that, and the deadline is tonight. I was like, okay. So then later I was like, if she's applying, like, why not me, right? So I looked into it, applied for it, and I actually got through the Easter.
My God.
Because I got through the Easter program, I got summer internship as well. Then I got fast-tracked in summer. I got a job offer at Goldman. So I got associated with Goldman from my, year one itself.
That's what you said, opportunity is all around. You just have to listen.
Yeah, and it's also about, when you listen to something, don't think that ye to uske liye, mere liye nahi hai. Actually think about it. Can I benefit from it? What can I do about it? Right? And now so I started work in 2005, right? So 19 years later, I've started doing this now. Where when I'm meeting people, I'm doing things, I'm like, oh, how can I grow with this? How can I learn? Because otherwise, we all, time just passes by. And we have to make most of it. So we did, so anyways, I worked with Goldman. I did that for 5 years. And towards the end of it, I spoke with my, boss that I wanted to do something else. And at that time I didn't have clarity on what I want to do, but I had met Rohan by this time, and Rohan and I had just got married when I left Goldman. So my last year at Goldman was when we were getting married, and we were actually flatmates. We were flatmates for 3 years. Nothing happened, and then all of a sudden everything happened. And then we were like, oh, this is the guy I want to marry also. And I remember our first date, he rode on his bicycle to come see me at Goldman, because my working hours used to be 8 a.m. till midnight every day. So at 8:30 he came. I went for dinner at 9. 9 p.m. dinner date के लिए. उसके बाद मैं वापस ऊपर office आई. And my team was also there. They're like, how was it? They were like, she's not saying anything. Maybe this guy is like the real one or the good one, or when you don't want to say much because it's good. Yeah, exactly. So that's how it started, and then Rohan always wanted to be an entrepreneur.
Interesting.
So when I wanted to leave Goldman, he also was thinking of that, and then we said, chalo one by one chhodte hain, right? Immediately, dono at same time, it's hard. So I left first, and then he had introduced me to this cashback idea. We were using Quidco, which is a cashback site in the UK.
This is what year?
This is 2010 now.
Got it.
Yeah, and then 2011 we actually started our UK business. So I guess I've been an entrepreneur now for 13 years.
13 years.
Yeah.
Amazing. Amazing.
And I don't know, it still feels like there's so much to do.
Yeah, it's still day zero. Like every day you're learning something new, right? So every day you're building something.
And the thing with product and consumer products is that they evolve so much, so fast over time that every day it feels like हमने यही बनाया इतने time में. Like, what else?
Correct.
And that's why I was telling you that founders always, in some sense, underestimate
what
their
they've
own,
done.
their own thing.
Yeah.
I mean, although we are really proud that, okay, we've given out, 3,000-4,000 crores in cashback so far. That's a lot of money, real money in people's hands.
Correct.
And, every year we generate like 4,000 crores of sales for partners. Anyways, we'll come to all that. But the point being that, and that's where we have to always stop also and reflect and say, okay, you're doing well.
Correct.
But carry on.
Correct.
It's not done yet.
Correct.
Yeah.
And then how did that transition happen from, doing this cashback business in London to eventually realizing that maybe this is an opportunity here in India? Like, was it like a personal decision, or I mean, maybe like you had some core insight about the cashback market, which could be like massive in India?
Okay. So in UK, when we launched Pouring Pounds, the first time we thought of raising money, and I'll come to India because it started off from there, was we went to London Business School and we pitched in one of those entrepreneur sessions, that you hear about, there are angels who come to LBS, they invest in your company.
Yeah.
So there was this huge auditorium in LBS, we were pitching there, and after the session was over, one man comes up to us and he says that, I'm from Monetize, this company in the UK, it's a financial company. They were doing really well, their stock price was good, everything.
It was listed.
And it was listed.
Yeah.
It was listed company, and I want to see how my company can work with you guys. So we said, okay, so we started interacting with him, and within 2 months we had an acquisition offer from them.
Wow.
Yeah, and that acquisition offer was £1 million.
My God. And this is like,
first year of us starting up.
Yeah,
this was 2012.
Yeah.
Right? Like 2011 we started, 2012 we got this offer.
Yeah. And it was just the two of you owning equity in the company.
Exactly.
£1 million.
Yeah.
Just within a year of starting back in 2012 is like a lot of money.
Yeah. So we were tempted, right? We were like, मतलब एक तरह से थोड़ा सा काम करने में मिल रहा है, right?
Correct.
But then some of it was stock also. And that company was good, right? So the stock also is not an issue. But we just said, when we started this, we thought it's going to be much bigger, no? It can be much bigger. So अगर एक साल में £1 million बन सकता है, तो wait करेंगे तो क्या होगा?
Correct.
So that was our question.
तो बन ही सकते हैं.
He, just wait on and maybe bigger things will come.
Yeah.
So we didn't do that, but one of the individuals there, the one who had come up, he joined us as an angel investor, and he cut us a check for £50,000, and that was the first money we ever raised.
Amazing.
And after that,
and is he still a stockholder in the company today?
Yes.
Yeah.
Peter Radcliffe, he is, he's still an angel investor, and he's been a good supporter all through. He now represents the angels on the board, in fact, because all the other VCs have come over time, right?
Correct.
So the angels still remain very close to our heart as well, because they were the first checks for us.
Yeah.
So
and it's very unique that you still collaborated with those angels, right? Because a lot of times bigger VCs would come in and angels get an exit, right? But to still have them on the cap.
No, some of them have got an exit, but the others just haven't sold.
Yeah.
So they're like, when you sell, then only we will sell. They're like, we are in this ride with you, so we are not going to sell.
Yeah.
So we still have many of them. And so that's the time when we thought, okay, well, let's expand into India also, because, our roots were in India.
Correct.
And even for Pouring Pounds, we had hired people in India to do the business. So यहाँ पे सब लोग फिर बोलते थे कि यार e-commerce is starting up here, Jabong had come up, and e-commerce will start here.
Yeah.
And fundamentally, Rohan and I are big believers in Indian e-commerce, right? Because we think that India as a country has a requirement for e-commerce. There are so many cities, tier 2, tier 3, tier 4, ये सब नाम तो अभी हैं, तब तो नहीं थे. But the idea was that only the metros have large malls.
Yeah.
Everyone else, and the money incomes are growing everywhere.
Yeah.
Where will they get access to product? Where will they get the variety from?
Yeah.
So we wanted to do something which associates us with the growth of Indian e-commerce. And that's why we...
तब वैसे कितना DAU MAU था Indian e-commerce का at that time? 2012, 13?
I mean, see, today...
could be less than 100,000, maybe like...
it was probably like $1 billion industry, right? And today it's probably...
North of $300 billion.
Yeah.
Crazy.
Well, although the numbers say that $300 billion will be by 2027.
Okay.
Yeah. So right now, Indian e-commerce is more like a $80-90 billion industry.
Okay.
But yeah, it's grown 80-90 times since then. And emergence of so many brands.
Correct.
Right? तो उस समय वो भी नहीं था. But still, we launched CashKaro here. And as we launched CashKaro, we started seeing good organic traction. So we thought कि जब बिना कुछ करे लोग आ रहे हैं, तो why not start building the brand and growing it and doing something. So we decided to do an angel round of funding. And that's when Rohan came to India for the business and I was there. And we decided to do it. I said, okay, no problem, I can do it from here. So let me write to, so I wrote a nice email to all the Goldman people I knew, all the, some other people. And they said, so one person said, come, let's meet tomorrow. So that's when the ticker started. I met that person. He introduced me to someone else, someone to someone else. So our target was to raise $300,000. In 72 hours, we had $750,000.
Wow. And like equivalent of that in 2023, like, I mean, you can just imagine like as a seed round.
Yeah, exactly. So that was a seed angel. And the last checks came from people who didn't even
and this is for your India business. Like at that time you were building for India, like for Indian e-commerce.
Yeah. We had decided कि UK तो साथ में चलता रहेगा, but India is where we are going to make our big brand. So we will go.
Like interesting business है, right? Like I mean, as our DNA, as our nature, Indians love savings, we love cashback, right? Like, I mean, so if there's it was a huge hidden opportunity, right? Like, you could have also maybe built a horizontal e-commerce platform, right? But like to go after this, like actually requires a lot of thinking on that part as well. Like, it's a very deep insight that ways.
Well, also because, this way we are sector agnostic and category agnostic, right? Over the last few years, we've seen trends come and go, right? We've seen certain categories really
but this
take off,
nature of savings will always remain, right? So as long as e-commerce is growing, so this industry will always grow.
Well, and so when we started, this was our thought कि product market fit अच्छा है, people like to shop, they will love to save money on it. So India में CashKaro should do well. But what we've realized over time is that there's a bigger problem that still exists, and the one that we are solving, which is of customer acquisition. So all these e-commerce sites that are coming up, right? They all need to acquire customers, and Google, Facebook is working for no one. I'm sorry to say that, but from an ROI point of view, right? See, nobody can replicate the views, impressions, virality of an Instagram or the search capabilities of Google. But it's just that the numbers are very high right now. The cost of buying of a buying customer from Google, for example, because you're first paying for click. Us click में से X number of people come to your site. Some of them shop, some of them buy.
Maybe 1 out of 1,000 eventually click through it over.
Exactly. So because of that, the cost of a buying customer in India is actually close to $1,500 to $2,000.
And this is across categories, like
across most categories. Especially the more competitive ones, right? Nike shoes, Apple iPhone. I mean, these are very top keywords, very competitive. The CPs are very high on that. So you end up paying a lot more. So over time, some of these have also come down, but in some categories they've also gone up. So what we realized is that if we are going to e-commerce sites and saying that, hey, we'll charge you commission for every sale that we drive. Sale aaye to you pay us. If nothing, then you don't pay us. Then it's a win-win for both.
Correct.
And that ways we got everybody to say yes, right? From Amazon, Flipkart, Nykaa, Myntra,
because
Jio,
it's incremental for them, right? Like beyond whatever they're doing.
Exactly. It's incremental and it's performance based. And we peg the commissions at lower than what somebody is paying a Google. Right, so that makes it easier for us to convert as well. So that's what we realized, that on one hand we are helping e-commerce acquire customers at a less price, and on the other hand we are doing it in a way that the end customer is benefiting. So whatever commission we are getting from brands, usme se about 70-75% of it we are passing as cashback to customers.
Okay.
So we are saying,
can you actually take us through the flow?
Yeah. So if let's say you are shopping online, right? You want to shop on Amazon. What we are saying is come to CashKaro. From CashKaro, you go to Amazon and shop. Now, whatever you're buying, uspe you will get 5, 6, 10% cashback from our side.
Correct.
And all of this will keep collecting in your CashKaro account. And when it's confirmed, which means when the return period is passed, then you can transfer it to your bank or you can take it as Amazon gift cards.
Got it.
So you're getting it back as real cash.
Correct.
And it's 1-to-1. ऐसा नहीं है कि you are getting 1 rupee तो मतलब वो convert होके कुछ होगा.
Yeah. It's not coins, it's cash.
Exactly. So that's the other learning we we had that time, that
Yeah.
people were like, we have so many points and pins and like rewards and everything,
Yeah.
but itne
They don't
sare
convert.
1 million connect mein mujhe ek speaker milta hai.
Correct,
So we didn't want any of that. We said it's your money, we're not going
people
to.
do,
Is
pure cash,
you take it out.
Yeah.
One is one.
Yeah.
Exactly. There are no extra charges for payment, deductions, XYZ, nothing.
So 10% cashback let's say यूजर को मिल गया.
Yeah.
बाकी Amazon पे भी उस let's say Amazon ने कुछ डिस्काउंट दिया होगा.
वो भी उनको मिलेगा. Yeah. So when you go from CashKaro to the e-commerce site, right? If there is a bank offer running there, any discount, any sale, like a big billion day sale, you get all of that.
That available.
Our cashback is on top of everything else.
Interesting.
Yeah.
So essentially, if an Amazon is acquiring a customer, let's say their customer acquisition cost is 30% of their average order value.
Yeah.
तो उन्होंने 10% तो cashback दे दिया.
Yeah.
और जो बाकी 20% बचा, that essentially then becomes CashKaro's revenue.
Yeah, I mean, except that it's the other way around. We give most of it as cashback and we keep the lesser part.
Interesting.
So if we are getting 10% commission,
Yeah.
then we will give 7.5% as cashback and we will keep 2.5%.
Got it.
So typically 25% is what we keep.
Got it.
Yeah.
And is CashKaro still a very exciting customer acquisition model for
Yeah.
a lot of these brands?
Yeah.
How are you able to like acquire customers
Yeah.
just because of this core insight that Indians love receiving when cashback?
No, that's an interesting point, and I think CashKaro as a customer acquisition channel is becoming more and more relevant now for brands, because now brands are also looking at profitability.
Yeah.
There was a time in between where everyone was focused on GMV revenue and not profitability.
Correct.
So therefore they were doing a lot of branding campaigns, chahe result aa raha hai ki nahi aa raha, that visibility, that craze was also giving them the valuations because it was GMV based.
Correct.
But now that more and more people are focused on profitability, we in fact get budgets diverted from a lot of other marketing channels to us, because brands know कि ठीक है अगर sales आ रही हैं तभी तो हम pay कर रहे हैं. So I think that charm is sort of growing for e-commerce.
So it's become like a very effective bottom of the funnel
yes,
customer acquisition.
Yes.
Yeah.
And what has made it interesting is that, see, over the last year, we have driven 3 billion clicks to our partners.
My God.
So the amount of traffic you can get when we start promoting you is insane.
Yeah.
And what really changed the game over here, like 2 years ago, this number would be about 300 million. So, matlab traffic
like
that we are sending to partners.
Yeah.
So we have grown 100 times there because of EarnKaro, right? So that is another vertical which we have.
Yeah.
And EarnKaro is a social cashback app which basically allows influencers, telegrammers, WhatsApp group owners to make their own affiliate links for any deal and share it on their group. Right? So if I am a Telegram group owner and I have all these people in my group, तो अभी तो मैं मतलब how do I monetize this? Right? So what EarnKaro is saying कि आप किसी भी site का affiliate link मेरे से बना लो. We will in fact, we have made an automation tool which allows them to automatically post deals on their Telegram by just connecting our tool. So by doing that, people who are clicking on their links and shopping, these guys are the ones who are earning money. Right? So EarnKaro is saying कि you make affiliate links via us. If anyone shops via your link, you will get the money.
So it's like one step further than just cashback. I mean, like you can actually use that link to start earning and saving.
Yeah, exactly. See, in CashKaro, like 75% we are giving as cashback, 25 हम रख रहे हैं.
Correct.
In this case, क्या हो रहा है कि 75% we are giving to that influencer who is sharing.
Yeah.
Right? So end product.
And then when their family and friends are buying, so I mean, like it's incremental for them.
Exactly. So we have housewives, right? So housewives, let's say I'm part of a kitty group.
Correct.
And I know कि यार Lancome पे इस समय 50% cashback है, या फिर Forest Essentials पे 25% cashback है. Now Forest Essentials जैसे brand पे आपको कहीं और कुछ deal नहीं मिलेगी. So you can say कि yeah, these are the products from Forest Essentials I've been using. They're really good. You put them there, and if anybody buys, you are earning 25% commission on each. Right? So suddenly you've become an affiliate of Forest Essentials. And अगर आप अपने आप जाके बनते, it wouldn't have happened.
Correct.
Similarly for Nykaa, right? Similarly for Amazon, Flipkart. Now imagine Amazon, Flipkart. So many people ask you, which phone are you using? Where do I buy it from? Give me the link.
Correct.
But instead of giving your link, you can make your affiliate link of that product and give them, ताकि वो उसे खरीदेंगे तो आपको भी commission मिलेगा.
Yeah, you're actually making every regular person like us, into like an influencer. Like you can actually make money from your recommendations.
Exactly. Yeah. So we have a lot of Instagrammers who use us, lot of YouTubers who use us, because वो अपने videos में नीचे links लगा देते हैं, right? Their own affiliate links. So if I am making a video, I can say that I bought this set from Nykaa Fashion, and here's the link if anyone wants to buy. Now at that time they're not looking for a deal, they're looking for my recommendation.
Yes, that's
but
why they're on your
when they
content,
buy, I earn money because it was my affiliate link.
Correct.
Yeah.
Very interesting. So abhi like you mentioned that you've driven like $300 billion clicks, right?
3 billion clicks.
3 billion clicks to e-commerce platforms, right? So abhi like would love to understand a little bit about your current metrics, right?
Yeah.
Like essentially how many users do you have, like how many brands do you serve, like what's your GMV, what's your revenue, like what are some top categories you know that you see at CashKaro today?
Yeah, this is our investor question. So CashKaro has 20 million members, and last year we generated about 4,500 crores in sales for our partners.
And this would be across e-commerce platforms?
Across e-commerce, right? Across e-commerce. Of course, the most popular platforms are the largest ones that exist in Indian e-commerce, because that's just how it is, right? If Amazon, Flipkart are so big for India, they can't be different for CashKaro. They will also be big for us. But what we've seen interestingly is that over the last 1 year, the D2C brands have grown a lot. Actually, over the last 3 years, you know, they've grown a lot, and not only in personal care and beauty, is category mein to hai hi, right? Whether it's a Mamaearth, Wow, Plum Goodness, Caffeine, we work with all of them, and this sector has been growing a lot. But last year we also saw a lot of D2C electronics grow. Boat, Samsung, OnePlus, Dell. Some of them are selling on Amazon, but वो अपना भी कर रहे हैं.
तो उनके खुद के branded websites भी है now.
Yeah. And that's good, right? Because they get a lot of data then.
Correct.
So now every D2C brand is trying that in addition to platform growth, they aim for their personal growth as well. Because then they can retarget customers. They know a lot
so it's
more.
become, like as you said, CashKaro has become like an acquisition platform for a lot of these small brands to acquire customers as well and do a lot of bottom of the funnel.
Small as well, And then like last year we saw growth in pet category, right? Health supplements. Health supplements, suddenly there's like so many players. Then in the whole sustainable living, Ambala, Earth Decor, House, Pepperfry, all of that is there, but it's growing. The platforms themselves are expanding. Nykaa Fashion started with only fashion. Now it's got such a beautiful home section as well. So many other things there. We have, you know, the likes of Magsters, which is an education company, reading. So many different categories. But last year, actually, the category that grew the most was finance. Because now we've started giving cashback on credit cards. So Axis Bank, SBI, HDFC, kisi ka bhi credit card, if you go via CashKaro and then apply, you not only get the card.
On the bank's website.
On the bank's website. What you get is also like 2,000 rupees cashback from us in addition. So, you know, people are used to applying for cards when they get these calls, right? That we're trying to disconnect. But then, usse acha, if you want a card, you go to CashKaro, all of them are there. You get that 2,000 in addition. So finance is growing. I think there's a lot of demand for that in the country. So coming back to the metrics, we do about 4,500 crores in GMV to partners, revenue of about 250 crores, and you know, last year we did revenue of 250 and losses were around 10 crores. And that number is also something that we know is well within our reach to bring to zero and be profitable.
You're still investing in your growth.
We are investing, right? Because last couple of years it's been tough to raise money. But we managed to close a Series C of 130 crores, right? Just the year before that, 2022, towards the end of it. So we have money to deploy. So if we wanted to be profitable, we could do that today. But then, you know, we haven't raised all this money as an FD, right? We also want to deploy it and grow. And therefore, we are saying, okay, it's okay if we are loss making, but we'll keep the losses within a certain range. Right? 2 years ago, you used to see and tracker emails which will say key revenues that this company did were 15 crores and losses were 300 crores, right? It will be like, what is going on, right? So therefore, when it's the other way around, you know that this loss is within control, it can be brought down, and I think that's okay, because that's what you actually fundraise for, that it can give you that momentum in growth.
Correct. And this 250 crore revenue, so would it mean about 750 crore to 1000 crore cashbacks for actually your users?
Yes. So 250 crores means that last year we've given about 750 crores in cashback. And while it won't be, you know, the same every year, but I think so far we have given more than 4,000 crores in cashback. If we combine the coupons that people are also getting via us, which are giving them instant savings, right? Because in many cases, like let's say you go from CashKaro to Caffeine, very often we have a buy one get one. So you apply a BOGO, you're getting savings, plus you're getting 18% cashback as well. So if we combine those savings, then savings that we have enabled would be like definitely above 6,000 crores.
Crazy. And what's your customer demographic? You mentioned that you have 20 million your members, right? So like, is it across like from tier 2, tier 3, tier 4 cities, like or like is it still a very tier 1 city phenomenon?
Well, when we started, it was an 80-20 ratio, right? 80 being tier 1 and 20% were tier 2. Now, actually, we're sitting at 50-50.
Wow.
Yeah, and I think that's because a lot of the tier 2 to tier 6 cities are coming online to shop, right? They are finding good pricing, they're good variety. There's also like, that desire, aspirational desire to get better product, get better brands, and people can afford it. I mean, India is shining, right? So tier 2, tier 6 can afford everything today.
Correct.
And they clearly have the money to deploy. And our product is for people who are a little more online savvy, tech savvy in that sense, because उनको CashKaro से एक side पे जाना है. Although it's very easy, but still it's one extra step. And therefore, with growing, e-commerce and internet penetration, we've been able to attract that audience.
Correct.
Yeah.
And like generally, like what's the number of e-commerce shoppers in India today? Like, and what would be CashKaro's number as an overall demographic?
Well, see, e-commerce shoppers in India, from the latest reports I've seen, are about 65 million.
Okay, so that's what you're powering about 30%.
About 20 million users are registered with us. But I have to say that not all of them probably still remember us, right? Because somebody who signed up 6 years ago might not remember us anymore. Although we try to keep poking them and saying, hey, you remember. But I think that is the classic job of a digital marketer. Exactly. So and e-commerce today is about close to $100 billion. It's going to be a $300 billion market in 3 years' time. Right. So it's growing, and we expect a lot more to come, because even today about 880 million people have access to the internet. Right. So that's a big number.
So like we're not even like 7-8% of the internet.
See, today our online shopper number, online shopping as a percentage of retail is about 8% in India. Right. In China, if I'm not wrong, this number is close to 30%. In US, this number is 16%. So we still have a lot more to go. Exactly.
Very interesting. And I think there, like...
Oh, sorry, I think it might be the other way around. I think 30% in US, 16% in China, 8% in India.
Got it. Either ways, like there's a lot of potential for
e-commerce
to grow as a percentage of retail.
Exactly. And with the mobile penetration increasing in India, the number of people who are becoming comfortable interacting with and buying on mobile phone, it's only going to keep growing. And all of us are building mobile app first products now.
Correct.
Right? Nowhere else in the world you have mobile first approach as soon as it came to India. So today everyone is mobile first.
And I think there, your strategy of actually, like building multiple brands is also very interesting, right? Like, CashKaro, EarnKaro, BuyKaro, BankKaro, SaveKaro, right? Like,
you've got it right. The last one is CashKaro Store Network, which can be called SaveKaro also. It's a good name. I should use that.
So, and I mean, like if I were to think of it as an outsider, right? Like obviously, like we would not mind extra income as Indians, right? Like we would not mind extra savings. You are still providing banking solutions, right? So, I mean, like, these again seem like coming from very, very core insights of, like how Indians function, right? So tell us about this, right? Like why suddenly like, like 5 different brands across, like as part of the CashKaro, and, like how is this ecosystem coming along?
No, that's a great question. And, I think why we did it is because, when we used to look at the counterparts globally, right, we've seen eBay, it's a $1 billion cashback site in the US, Fanly in China, Quidco in the UK. So all of them have done really well. And we always used to believe that if in a country like US there can be a $1 billion cashback site, then why not in India, where the market is very large and it is in our DNA to save money as well. So if there is a $1 billion cashback site anywhere that should exist, it has to be India. And that has to be CashKaro, because we are the first in this space, right? Plus, I feel like we've set up the whole industry with respect to how these reports should function. It's a pain, by the way. It's a big pain, right? Because it sounds simple ki we will give cash back, but what it means is that every partner of ours needs to be giving us reports in time in automated formats that can go up to our system directly.
It requires deep technical integration.
Exactly. About where the transactions are, because jiska cashback nahi aayega, they will go and say, oh, you kept my cashback. But actually it's not us. It's just that sometimes the partners don't give the reports or they don't share it on time or they have bandwidth issue or whatever it is. So setting up all of that with good tracking technology has been a big challenge, right? So we did that, and then, but what we realized is that India is a country of many firsts. It's a country of many approaches, and to succeed in India, we can succeed and focus only on CashKaro. But there are so many localized opportunities that were emerging that we couldn't say no to them, right? So when we looked at CashKaro ho raha tha, then people used to come to us and say, hey, if I'm not shopping, but I want to share deals, I want to refer in a network, any product you have for that, right? So
and this was a data-backed insight that you got actually from your customers.
Yeah, from our customers. So we actually started something called Club CashKaro, saying, okay, you become CashKaro members, you are like, loyalists who are very active. So you share our deals. Like if we have 25% cashback on for essentials, that's a great deal. So you share it, then those 25 may say you keep some. But then we were starting off on those things, but then, we started getting more and more of these group owners saying, I have groups. I don't need to share anything with anyone. Just give me links, I will post. So we worked backwards from that customer insight, saying that, this phenomena of WhatsApp groups, of Telegram groups is unique to India. Not a lot of other countries have it. So what can we do to enable these group owners?
And we're a trust deficit nation anyways, right? Information asymmetry. So if somebody tells me something, ki le lo, so I am more likely to buy it.
Correct. Exactly. So, this was also the time when social commerce was booming, but suffering also. Like social commerce was a trend. 3-4 companies came up, some went away. And then the ones that stayed also couldn't survive on that very model. Because even for the Mishos of the world at the initial stages, the product quality coming out was not good from resellers, right? So the trust was waning. So, but there was power in recommendation. So we took that part. There is power in recommendation. So we built EarnKaro on the back of it, right? Then we came through another audience, which was like, okay, in rural India, there is still this thing about trust in online shopping. People were like, हम खुद order place करने में comfortable नहीं है, payment देना होगा, फिर return करना होगा, कल को मेरा कोई card खा गया तो, like all those kind of things were there, right? So we said, okay, how about in different places? So we trained Kirana Store owners to use CashKaro, saying
as assisted shopping.
As assisted shopping. Right? So we said, you will make money because right now if your income is 15,000 a month, right? Anyone who's coming to your shop, tell them, can we order medicines for you from 1mg? Do you want jeans from Myntra? Do you want shoes from Amazon? Where do you want what from, right?
It's a strong insight. Like I remember about 8 to 10 years ago, so again there was a like mom and pop store only, right? They would do recharges for us and all.
Exactly.
My parents would go there, we would go there and हम लोग अपनी plane की tickets उनसे कराते थे या फिर कुछ सामान order करना था वहीं से करते थे because कोई मतलब उनके वहाँ properly पहुँच जाएगा and then we can collect it. And now like we have evolved, right? But I mean like that market is still evolving in tier 2, tier 3 cities.
It's still there. We have 150 people on field today in different parts of India where they train Kirana store owners of those cities to say ki when you have footfall, these are the deals you should offer them and this is how much you make money.
My God.
Can you believe that over the last month, okay, we have done almost 20 lakhs of sales for Lancome through this network. Lancome, which is a luxury global luxury product, right?
Correct. From like a tier 2, tier 3 audience.
This is actually tier 3, tier 4 now.
From a Kirana store.
Kirana stores. They are selling. They are doing that. Like, theek hai yaar, access to product.
So,
that's amazing.
So like, if this Kirana store network, right, how many Kirana stores would be there in India today? And do you think like this, like the fleet on street, like training Kirana stores can actually become like a viable mode for scaling? And just say, aaj, like you have 150 people, maybe it becomes like a larger team, and can actually these Kirana stores also make money, at scale from this?
See, conceptually it can. Okay, but as a business owner, is it my P1? No, right? Because I think that we have and we should find more sustainable ways from CashKaro, EarnKaro in terms of digital marketing, right? Because ये वाले में क्या है ना, अभी तो opportunity है, but we're hoping that India comes to a point that in 4-5 years you don't need assisted shopping, right? So therefore, right now we are doing this business because it is it's like moment marketing, right? But then when its moment passes, the focus is still on the others, right? So as businesses, what we do is we say we have 2-3 core products and businesses where we will go all in, and the other things opportunistically we will do, right? So that's what we're doing with this right now, and that's why we're not growing it to like 1,000 people. Ki it also remains as a unit that can always be there, rather than thinking ki ab ye unit itna bada hai aur ab iska time nahi hai, then you shut off, lay off. We've not done a single layoff in our entire history of Pouring Pounds and CashKaro.
And I think that's like testament to you guys. Like I think in the zamana of funding and explosive growth, you guys talk about sustainability and 250 crore revenue with a 10 crore loss, and that also like, I mean, you're saying that we can control it, right? Like whereas there would be brands who would be in 10x loss and would be saying that we're investing in it in our growth.
Yeah, it's like, see, nothing stops us today from making this team 150 ki jagah 1000, right?
Correct.
But I always tell the team कि जब तक आप 150 पे profitability नहीं लाओगे और scale नहीं करना है इस team को. So इसलिए business units,
every new business has to bring contribution margin.
It has to bring. It has to bring, and see, we are okay to fund the loss for some time, right? As an experiment, as growth. But then we have decided limits for each business. कि इसके beyond, if you're not able to make money, we're not going to put more in it. That means we don't know if in future it will or not. So abhi because also money once spent does not come back. It's a very obvious statement, but all founders and startups have gone through it, right? Where you've done experiments and you're like, I could have spent lesser because now that it's gone and funding winter has come, I'm stuck somewhere. Right? And I don't want to be in that position because I feel like with 450 people on our payroll and at an average like 5 people in each of those families, we have at least 2,500 people associated with us, right? So if at founder level we're not responsible about lives, then at which level is it meant to happen? Right? So we try and think from that perspective ki when we hire someone, they are ours now. Their up and down is ours. We have to be there for their problems also. So the companies need to have cash for whatever comes up. So yeah, we are giving them a free hand. Experiment, 150 people is no less. Right? So that's what I tell them ki aapka monthly you need to, I mean that's what we say, 5 crore per month unless you can revenue generate when expanding the team.
Interesting. And the other verticals, like I mean like those are also experimental right now, or I mean?
No, actually. So one of them, EarnKaro, that's the other one we launched because we feel that there is a lot of scope in the finance category, like I was telling you. So why we had to separate it out from CashKaro a little bit was to build the infra for that. Like for banks, there are separate pages where you can apply. So that journey is a little different.
So CashKaro, but only for banking needs becomes like a different.
So sometimes like for certain marketing experiments that we want to do directly to those, we build that. But otherwise, it's pretty much CashKaro only. It's just a finance leg for us. And the fifth is BuyKaro, which is our latest launch. So BuyKaro was an experiment to say कि अभी हम ट्रैफिक भेजते हैं साइट्स पे, लोग वहाँ शॉप करते हैं.
Can you do conversions?
अगर वो यहीं खरीद लें तो, like can we do conversion at our portal itself? So we made it into e-commerce, right? It's an e-commerce.
It's like horizontal e-commerce.
It's horizontal, but the difference there is that we are saying
and you will do end-to-end shipping, like you will experience also.
We're doing drop shipping. So the partners have integrated with us.
So, but experience is end-to-end BuyKaro.
Yeah, experience is end-to-end BuyKaro. The delivery and all is really fast. And the good thing there is that the cashback is already factored into the price. So BuyKaro is actually the cheapest place to shop online. If you ignore CashKaro.
But I mean like just thinking like
it's kind of competitive
with your existing business.
So that's why we are not really growing it as much because it is there, but we've made it as a pilot. So for example, if let's say Instagram tomorrow wants an e-commerce facade, we could power that. Right? We could say कि ठीक है ये वाला portal जो है you can power it.
So for platforms which have a lot of high intent audience but are not doing commerce, this can become like themselves
so
can
this
become
is
like
a B2B SaaS plugin for them.
Interesting. Essentially, CashKaro is powering so many now D2C brands to help them with customer acquisition. So we just want to understand more about how this ecosystem is evolving. What are some exciting categories for founders to build in India today?
Yeah, so at CashKaro we have about 1,500 partner brands, out of which more than 500 are D2C. Right? And I think that number is only growing. And over the last year, we've seen good growth across categories. I think beauty and personal care has just exploded. Obviously, with the success of Mamaearth, Wow, MCaffeine, so many more are also coming up. I think in D2C, personal care, if you ask me, is there more room? Probably, but I mean, it's still coming up, so there must be, I guess. But maybe for more personalized solutions or something that, see, abhi ye bhi ho raha hai ki, everyone is saying we are organic, vegan, plant.
These are like the buzzwords and
exactly. But then sometimes it's actually becoming difficult to differentiate between the quality as well.
Correct.
So I think there is room for something new, which is actually very good quality, right? And I think that room will always stay. Like for example, last year we launched 82E, Deepika Padukone's brand on CashKaro. And I think being a new brand, but still their offering is different from others, and I personally feel that their product is very good. So that kind of thing, when somebody uses your product, but they want to come back for the second one, that's where I feel the differentiation is coming up, where you can build that repeat behavior. And now what we're also seeing is that different D2C sites have certain things they're very good at. So the more that they can expand to other categories, more room will happen. Electronics has seen a lot of growth, whether it's noise or of course boat is huge, but there are so many other players that have come up in smartwatches and health monitors, all of that. Beto is doing like diabetes stuff, so there are lots of health related things also coming up. I think there is still room for good quality health related products, like not health supplements. Personally, I'm not a big fan of supplements, but there are people launching all the time. I see them, but I think good quality, not just organic कहने के लिए, right? Like on Kind Life, we have Kind Life as a partner also. There are some very good brands. Right? You see Whole Truth has really nice dry fruits. Dry fruits, by the way, last year saw an explosion. Krishival Nuts, Hapilo, that also, and this other one, dry fruit wala, like so many coming up. Our house is full of dry fruits because we're always trying out and buying. And there's good quality product also coming in. Like Sattvic Foods, another D2C brand selling on Amazon. Fantastic quality. So I think now availability of product is not the thing. There are many people who used to come and tell me, why don't you launch a beauty brand? I'm like, why? They're like, it's so easy. You already have a marketing site. Go and put a factory in Baddi in Himachal Pradesh. They will manufacture, put like nice packaging, roll out.
Correct.
I'm like, I don't want to do that. I want to, if I create something, I want to create something that's good quality, that actually is beneficial for you, right? I mean, I'm a kidney transplant patient / new life, have got a new life through it, right? I'm cognizant of what I put inside me. So I think anyone who's looking to launch a new brand should just think that there's no more room for brands that only run on cheaper pricing. There's room for good quality with pricing.
और कोई ऐसी कैटेगरी है जो भी अंडर इंडेक्स्ड है इंडिया में, लाइक व्हिच अकॉर्डिंग टू यू लाइक जहाँ पे लाइक अपॉर्चुनिटीज आ सकती हैं?
आई थिंक home has good brands but not as many, and it's largely growing through horizontals at the moment. And the ones that are very good are very expensive, like a Nicobar or a Good Earth or a Dress Home. The ones that are not so much, you look on Amazon but the quality doesn't seem as good. So I think there's room in between.
Interesting. I think that's an interesting insight for a lot of D2C founders who are listening to the show.
I hope somebody comes up in that. I'll be happy to help you market it.
Amazing. I would
also in fashion, by the way, because I think that for, like, I personally try out a lot of fashion brands myself, but then I'm exploring and finding these designers on my own, right? But then there's Fable Street. Now Fable Street is a good D2C brand that's catering for professional workwear. There can be many more like that. There's room for that. And for a lot of these brands, you see them on Instagram once, and then you forget ki kaun sa tha, and then you try to search for them again, right? So essentially, like, to build a strong brand, I think there's an opportunity. Absolutely.
Very interesting. I think one one thing that I've always been very fascinated by in your journey is like you've talked about a 0 to 1 journey when you raised money, but like raising money from Mr. Ratan Tata, right? Like he's like one of the most legendary people in the ecosystem, right? So would love to know more about how, like, if you can share that story. How did that happen? Right? Like, is he a very active investor? Like, I mean, like, do you get to meet him a lot? Like, to share about the business?
Well, after we got funding from Kalari, they led our Series A, which was about a 25 crore round.
This is what year?
This was 2015, towards the end. So Mr. Tata, we met in 2016, because that was November and Jan, kind of, so same round. So I requested Vani, ki, can you set up a meeting for us with Mr. Tata? And people used to tell us कि क्या करोगे मिलके? He only likes to invest in businesses that have a larger positive impact. So I said कि well, we are not a charity, but we are giving money to people. So I don't know.
I think there's no bigger impact than
exactly. Who knows, right?
Savings,
and so I just requested Vani कि doesn't matter. I just request you to get us a meeting. At least we would have felt that we've tried. Right, and I think that was also a great lesson not to take no for an answer, because if you
which you've never done in your life.
Exactly. I don't think you ever can. I think you ever should, because if you don't ask the question, the answer is always a no. If you ask a question, the chances are it could be a yes, right? So tried it. So this actually happened a few times. This particular line was used a few times in Mr. Tata's journey only. So we got a meeting. We went to Taj Chambers.
In his chambers.
So at the Taj in Mumbai, like, so you go straight in. There's a lift right at the end. So somebody was escorting us, and we got in the lift, and they pressed a C. So I was thinking, so that means anybody can go to the chambers because this is a C.
Oh, so there's a secret lift, like which with the C button, which only takes you to Mr.
So
Tata's
maybe that
chambers.
was the secret lift only that we went in. But I remember it opened to his floor, and I was so impressed by just the decor there. It was full of wooden paneling. It was beautiful. And we sat down to wait, and then the butler came to me and he said, "Ma'am, what do you like to have?"
Wow.
I said, "What do you have? Is there a menu or something?"
Yeah.
And he just looks at me, "Ma'am, this is Mr. Tata's chamber.
We have everything.
Anything is available." I was like, okay. So, and suddenly, like, I couldn't think of what to ask. So I said, "Can I have some strawberry with pancakes?" I don't know why I said that, but yeah, that's what I came up with. So anyway, so after that, we met him in the rooms. It was a large room. So he's sitting on a table like this, having his lunch. He was actually at his dessert by then. And I remember thinking that time, this is the right generation. At his age, he's having a full dessert plate. And I'm like, oh, sugar doesn't suit me. And this and this, X, Y, Z things.
So cute.
He's having everything,
Yeah,
which was really nice to see.
Yeah.
So they said, you can pitch here. He's sitting here. So the projector was there. On this table, his advisory committee was there. His investment committee, Kalari, everybody was there. So I stood there and I was looking कि यार ये तो only 20 minutes का slot है and I won't even get to talk to him because I'm so far. So I was like, screw this pitch, right? So I went to him and I said, "Sir, do you mind if I sit across from you and we just have a conversation? Same 20 minutes, I'll take you through the deck, but I just want to sit here."
Yeah.
And so he's like, no
So
problem.
that you can
sit.
at least talk to him eye to eye and
This
just
was
have
my
a conversation.
second thing, right? This was my second time where I didn't assume that the answer is going to be no. Because otherwise, I feel that if I had stood there, he would not have invested in us. Kuch connection hi nahi banta. And that's the thing about investment and investors. There has to be a connection between you and the investor. Because at the end of the day, they are going to believe in you as a founder, as a startup. Startup by definition means you don't have a lot to show for it, right? So therefore, it's you and your passion and energy that also gets you that check and that name in Mr. Tata's case. So he said, sure. So I sat there. We told him about our journey, who we are, all of that. Then in the end, I said, "Sir, what do you think of our business?" And he said, "In a country that loves to save, you're giving free money. I see no reason about what's not to love."
Wow.
So I was like, yeah, that's
all
good.
those years of building are validated.
Exactly, right? And that time, so I remember my grandfather, when he came from, when he migrated over, his first job was at a Tata Steel factory. So I told him that my grandfather is really happy that I'm here with you today. So can we take a photo? So, and we were told when we went in, no photos and all. And I was thinking, kal ko invest kare na kare, photo to leni hai, definitely.
Again, you didn't assume a no.
Right? So I told him this, which was true. And then Vani started laughing. She's like, "Oh, you're a good entrepreneur. You got Mr. Tata to say yes, and you got your photo as well." So we took a photo. And then when we announced the investment, we always used it everywhere, So we had that. But for 2 weeks, we didn't hear from him and his office. So I used to tell Rohan ki chalo investment to nahi hogi, but we met him, we got a photo, great, we are done. Then 10 o'clock one day I get a call. No,
10 p.m.
10 p.m. 10 p.m. I get a message ki, "Hi Swati, this is Venkat, can we talk?" And Venkat used to be an intern at CashKaro at that time.
Okay.
So I was thinking, why is an intern messaging me at 10 p.m.? So I ignored it for some time. Then I was like, well, if he's messaging, maybe there is something. Because, intern won't really message me otherwise. So I said, sure, call me. Picked up the phone. "Hi Swati, this is Venkat from Mr. Tata's office." I was like, what? If I knew it was this Venkat, I would have doubled down and called him then. I was like, so for a minute, I almost wanted to say, "I thought you were my intern." No, I didn't say anything. I was like, "Yes, tell me." And then he said, we loved we love what you guys are building, and Mr. Tata would like to be a part of it. We'd like to invest in your company.
Wow.
I was almost like, can I record? Can I replay? Did he just say this? So I told him that only. I said, look, I am going to get really happy if you tell me that you're investing. So just are you're serious or you want more information? What do you want to do? He's like, no, we are in, and just send me the docs. I'll sign because you've just done your fundraise, right? So it's on the back of that only. Everything is done. I was like, perfect. When raat ko hi baith ke document bana diya. I was like, send it out now. And we got it signed. And, I think the kind of congratulations that we got from people in that round, although it was like the smallest round we've done so far, has probably been the most, right? Because Mr. Tata's name means so much. I have to say that we haven't we haven't sought a lot of help, right? Because also he keeps his personal and professional separate. Like initially I used to say कि यार पूरे TCS को CashKaro के बारे में बता देते हैं because Tata sort of thing, right? But it doesn't work like that because these are his, I mean, obviously, right? I mean, at their level, these are very different things for them. So, no, but it's been great for a business like us also that runs on trust to have his backing. And then after that, we raised a Series B round, which was $10 million, led by Korea Investment Partners. And, you know, we were actually doing all the docs and all when COVID started. So Jan, Feb, our documents were happening, and then Korea went into a lockdown because Seoul went first, right? So the docs were with them to sign after like 4-5 months of documentation, DD, everything. Because Series B due diligences often take time because companies are going through that small to big wala jump, right? So they want to...
You would have your data room and everything.
Your whole data room set up, everything set up, right? And at that time, many fundings were falling off as well. People were backing out, right? So every day used to be like, sign document, aa jaye, you know, then bank mein paisa aa jaye. So everything happened on as it was meant to. And I think 2nd April, we locked all the documents, and I think 3rd April or something, lockdown got announced.
Oh my God,
So lockdown, we were like, thank God before that we have the money, right? So COVID, therefore, we were fine. We had money through that, and we've always been a little more ROI focused. Like,
and did Mr. Tata invest again?
No, he only does once.
Okay.
Yeah, he only does once because that time also it's for his name. So it's not really as much about the money even then. So we used that money over the next couple of years, and then last year, actually in 2022, we did our Series C, which was 130 crores led by Affle Global. So I think once you do Series C, then everything changes because you've gone into that 100 crore plus club, right? And
do we now look at a Series D, Series E in the future as well for CashKaro?
Inshallah, I guess.
I think your vision of like building like the $1 billion cashback, I mean, like it's very close, right? I mean, like just a few more years of executing like the way you are doing.
It's all about execution, I feel now. It's all about that. But it's also about stopping and taking stock of what can you do better that you've been doing for many years. You know, in companies like ours, for example, we often visit कि हमारा जो Amazon का page है, like you go from CashKaro to Amazon. How else do we make it intuitive for the user, right? How else do we, how do we improve customer experience? So I think at Series C, it becomes a lot about product, customer experience, numbers, and the whole brand building sort of thing.
And that's where you spend a lot of time on?
Yeah, we do. I mean, both Rohan and I are involved in that. It's also, actually, hiring also takes time, right? So just building leadership team. And like I always believe in that Jim Collins quote, right? From good to great, that founders who are building companies that go good to great know that when you're getting into a bus, who are the right people to get on the bus, place the right people in the right seats, and then you also have to put the wrong people off the bus. So people, when you have the right people on the bus, together you will figure out where to drive it. Because when you start your journey, you don't know where you're going to drive. When we started off, we were doing only cashback, right? Now CashKaro has cashback coupons price comparison. There's EarnKaro, BankKaro, BuyKaro, CKS, all of it, right? And we started off thinking product market fit अच्छी है, लोगों को cashback देंगे. Now we are all about solving the marketer's problem of saying why.
Acquisition.
Because ultimately that's where the money is coming from as well, right? And we never thought we're going to send 3 billion clicks in 1 year to partners, right? So things change, and it's all a function of the people and the ideas that have happened over this time, and our ability to execute. And I think in some of these cases we've executed well, right? In some cases we know that we can do better, and we will. So it's about being honest and carrying on, I think.
I think one thing which is very interesting that you mentioned is like, you know, like you started up with Rohan, right? Like your husband, right? So like between the two of you, you know, like what sort of skill sets do you have? Like is one person the left brain, one person the right brain? I mean, like what areas do you look at in the business? What does he look at? And like from a 0 to 1 journey, I'm asking because like a lot of our audience is 0 to 1 founders, right? Like how would you recommend, like what should people, like what should the initial team structure be, you know, when you're building the initial founding team?
Well, I think the first point is that, like you said, it's actually very important to get a founding team. Only founders are not enough. I think Rohan and I were just us with like, you know, 3-4 people, because we were in London and we had 3-4 people in India helping on different things. but the bulk of it was with us. And I feel that we should have got a larger, bigger, stronger leadership team in place sooner.
Yeah.
You know, and we had the money also, but we were always very cognizant of the bottom line, right? And we were growing it like a real business. कि पैसा आएगा आप लगाओगे, not just कि पैसा कहीं से आ रहा है और आप लगाते जाओ और you know that it becomes like an imbalance of sorts. So I think that investment into leadership team is important. But I think as what is also a good guide to think about when you're starting up is what do you genuinely enjoy doing, right? Where are your genuine interests and skill sets? So that's how it happened for Rohan and myself, because Rohan was always interested in product, data, tech, and I was always interested in marketing, brand, PR, the investor side. Therefore, I took on social media. You know, so our interests were there. I just didn't want to do product, and he just didn't want to think about a brand campaign. You know, so that was great. But at the same time, we both know enough about each other. I mean, I've done a maths honors at LSE. I've worked at 5 years in Goldman. Data is in me as well.
Correct.
So I don't actually, and I manage the whole investor side, right? Which means it's all run by data.
Correct.
So it's not that I'm not looking at that, but yes, how are the reports of the company structured today is a very different problem within data to solve. Right? If we are doing we've got automation set up in every team. We have Power BI reports, real-time updates. All of that, Rohan has done the thinking and architecture of it with the data team. Right? So इस तरीके से we've divided, and I think for others also I would say that you know, it's not really as much about a clear demarcation, because in many cases we are giving inputs across as well, which is important because both of us have a different perspective. So that is important, and I think if you just kind of go with the flow versus deciding a lot, then it's more fun.
So maybe I think when you're founders, right? So essentially it's important to have leverage in terms of your skill sets when you are starting a business, right? So like product, tech, you know, initially came from Rohan, and you know, like the content, marketing, brand side, you know, came from you. So like that way, it was a great match. You know, and that's how founders should also look at that. Like they have differentiated skill sets, but at the same time, I mean, they can, you know,
complementary skill sets.
Correct.
Great way to succeed. That's what our learning has been. Complementary skill sets, and I think the one tip I would give to entrepreneurs who are working as couples is to not let ego in the way. You just can't afford it, right? So for us also, it's always about saying, ki, okay, in the end, what is right for the business, let's just do that, regardless of who suggested it, right? So that's how sometimes people say, oh, do you fight? What happens? Do you bring an argument home? Right? And for us, I think the lines between work and home, professional and personal lives are really blurred. And it would be unfair to say that they are not. I think it's kind of hard. Like sometimes this weekend we were driving to Sariska. So Rohan's driving, I was with him, and I was discussing about 3 candidates that I interviewed. So I was like, for this person, this, you know, just giving the lowdown, discussing what we need in a certain role. And we didn't say, ki, oh, we're talking about work, let's not. But we were enjoying it, but after some time we're like, okay, enough, no more of this. Okay, fine, enough. So we kind of go with the flow and stop artificially trying to say that, oh, itna bach gaya, ab baat nahi kar sakte. Ab man kar hai to kar lenge, it's okay. Nahi karega, one person doesn't want to, they'll say, ki, okay, not now. Okay, not now.
No, fascinating. I think, you know, like we have this last section, you know, where we, you know,
the rapid fire.
We have the rapid fire, but we, you know, like another thing that we have is, you know, we wanted to know a little bit about your personal life as well, right? So essentially, you know, one thing that we have seen is that, you know, like you've built a very, very strong personal brand, right? So, and like, I mean, you're creating an amazing amount of content. It's very relatable. I think, like, I have been following CashKaro for such a long time, and I know it through you, right? So, like, how important it is for founders, you know, to create a personal brand today?
I think it's very important because, you know, remember when you are starting up, the brand doesn't exist. People are looking at you to understand what the brand will be, what is your vision with it, what kind of expectation can they have with the brand. There's a lot with that founder. So I felt that when we moved from London to India, we didn't know anyone. I didn't even have a professional network here. I had 0 followers, by the way. I had no accounts on LinkedIn or Twitter anyway. I had no accounts. So I set up everything and I was like 0 followers, okay, 5, 10, 15, whatever. It grew over time. So it takes effort. But also what I have found is that, you know, being active on social media helped me build that social brand, personal brand. And some of it I did it in a very authentic and organic way without necessarily saying that, oh, I'm going to build content. It's only when I hear from people like you saying that you're creating content, you're building. So I'm thinking, I'm creating content. Like, you know,
but it's very organic for you.
Yeah, because I'm just thinking I'm doing a post. You know, I'm doing a post. Let's create a video and we'll post it. But now, of course, it's a different generation of content creators, and it's hard to get mind space of audience. So you have to be creative in that sense, and I think founders should invest in some of that. But you know, there's a balance to be struck. I wouldn't say that business abhi, you know, it's not even got launched properly and you're spending all your time in interviews. No, because the business needs you there. Like even today, we get, you know, I mean, fortunately, we get a lot of speaker invites, but we're so choosy about it because we're like,
thank you for doing this podcast.
No, but you know, because it's like, whenever you do one thing, it's because you're not doing something else. So at every point you have to ask yourself that today if I do this or this, where does my annual goal, what meets my annual goal more? Otherwise, founders can also be in that zone where they are so focused on building personal brand and spending so much time that, you know, their company may not get all that it deserves. That balance is important, but I think investing in it is useful. It's valuable, it's good for business.
Interesting. And you know, one last thing, like 2023 for you, you know, has been a like very different year from a health perspective as well, right? So you know, like as what would be your message to founders, you know, like on how do they manage their health, their work life, and you know, like their professional and personal life as well, right? Like how does one structure it? Like obviously both are important, right? Like how do you manage it?
I think I manage by taking each day as it comes and figuring out what is the priority for that day. So there will be, you know, days like yesterday, for example, when I had a lot of work, there was lots of other stuff to be done. But I said, ki, no, this is for tomorrow. Today I've got this, right? So I'm fully focused on that. Now tomorrow, if it's my mother-in-law's birthday, I'll be like, yeah, I definitely want to be there for her lunch. I want to do something at home for her in the evening. So I will plan my day such that I can be there for that. And on that day, ho sakta hai, my work will be lesser. So I think every day, it's about what makes you, like, I don't want to feel like I'm giving up in life or I'm not getting something of enough. You know, I'm a very positive person. I have a lot of positive self-talk in that sense, where I feel that I'm okay and the universe has got my back, and I can do what I want. So I don't want to keep feeling that, oh, my work is so busy that I can't do this, my life is so busy. It is actually, and I can't do a lot of things. But then I really ask myself every day, ki, what is the one thing that if you don't do, you'll be like, my life is not good. Like, you know, just do that thing. So that's how I try to do it, so that I am also happy. You know, and I think, I mean, I've been working since 19 years, right, out of which 13 years as an entrepreneur. So there is a balance that one has to strike to be able to give your all every day, to still be passionate after 13 years. Because the day your passion runs out, you are not the same founder as you were, right? And I think then you can't feed others with your energy either. I think leaders have a very important role to play with the energy that they carry. So when I am in office, even if I'm there for 3 hours, I will only have positive energy which others can feel inspired by. Otherwise, what role am I doing as a leader? I'm not going there to make them feel bad, or how will they believe and contribute and do their best if they're not happy? So I really feel ki, you know, we have to focus on being happy ourselves, making sure others around us are happy, then only businesses will grow. No good work happens, I don't know, by unhappy people.
No, I think super inspiring and really amazing. I think a lot to take back for as well, you know, for any founder. So Swati, we have this amazing section, you know, the rapid fire, right? Where essentially we want to know the founder behind the brand, right? You've been so, like, you've shared so openly about your personal journey, but you know, few other interesting questions that, you know, we thought that people don't know about you, right? So again, I'm just going to ask you a question and just like, you can say like whatever comes to your mind. Maybe try to keep it 1 or 2 lines. Right? What is the best way for you to unwind?
On weekdays, to just go for a walk, watch some TV, spend time with family. On weekends, either traveling or definitely like some kind of party with friends. 3
favorite homegrown fashion brands from India?
Oh, I like Notebook. I wore a lot of it this last time. I did a lot of collabs with them. Bodice also I really like. Many others like Aroka, Canal also, lovebirds.
So like, I mean, like three is a very limiting number.
Yeah. Tried to squeeze in more.
Thrift shopping versus luxury shopping. Like, what's your style?
I think I'm somewhere in the middle because I like to buy good things but at a discount.
One person you have learned a lot from.
Rohan, actually. I think I've learned from him how to really be fully committed, whether it is to your relationship or to your work. Because the amount he does for his work is just a lot.
Amazing. Health, work, relationships. How would you rank them?
Well, in my case, I would say health, relationships, and then work. Because if you are healthy, then only you can actually contribute and enjoy that relationship. Otherwise, you would be a burden, right? And if you're not healthy, you definitely can't work. So,
health, relationships, work.
Yes.
One thing people don't know about you.
I have 3 kidneys. So actually, I mean, I've had a kidney transplant. My mom donated a kidney to me. But people think that kidney transplant means jo nahi chal rahi hai usko hata ke you put a new one. But actually what happens is that both of your kidneys stay, and when you do a transplant, the third one just gets added. So I'm superhuman in that sense.
Best way to spend the weekend? I think you've answered it.
Best way to spend the weekend? Actually, it is either to travel and then mix up some party with travel.
Yeah. Scale, impact or profitability? What is more important?
I think scale and profitability both. If that's happening, I'm hoping impact will come. But without scale, you're not actually noticeable also. So it's just profitability won't be enough.
Your biggest inspiration?
It actually is Rohan because the way he works. But also what really inspires me is the other stories I hear about what people do with their cash back. There's somebody who's actually built a house because he earned so much cash back. There are people who do travel, then buying things for their house with it. So that kind of impact inspires me.
3 women you admire the most in the startup ecosystem?
I admire, take the first expression out. Okay, so 3 women I admire in the startup ecosystem. First is Falguni Nair. Okay, I think she's done a phenomenal job with Nykaa, so you can't not admire her. Second one I really admire is Kanika Tekriwal. She runs Jet Set Go. She is a breast cancer survivor and she's built her business in such a beautiful way, right? So I think it's a great story as an inspiration as well. And then, of course, all my friends from Priyanka, Malika, Suchita, Radhika, Supriya, everyone. Yeah.
So again, 3 is a very limiting number.
Yep. Ghazal and Vinita, yeah.
Amazing. Your favorite Indian CEO?
Sorry?
Favorite Indian CEO?
Favorite Indian CEO? Well, Indra Nooyi and Satya Nadella both were for different reasons. When I saw Indra Nooyi's interviews, I learned that it's okay to leave your house without any regret, right? That regret and that dilemma that women have very often about home and work, I think she manages that really well. And Satya has just scaled Microsoft phenomenally. He's been there for almost 10 years now and such a fabulous job.
Yeah. When he joined, it was $300 billion valuation. Now it's close to like...
Exactly. And what a brilliant AI play over the last couple of years. So can't not be inspired by him.
Yeah. Amazing. Thank you so much, Swati, for this amazing chat. Like, learned a lot from you. Like,
Thank you. Likewise.
Your 0 to 1 journey, then scaling up CashKaro, into such a large e-commerce company, right? Like building profitably, building sustainably. I think it's a lot to learn for any young founder in the country. At ACLR8 also, like we are a 0 to 1 program, right? So I mean, like as as your parting words, like what would you think, like where can we add value, as ACLR8 to young founders, who might be like when you guys, where you guys were 10 years ago when you were starting to build, right? Like what do you think is an opportunity for us to really make a difference there?
I think some very easy areas actually. It might be a little too obvious, but I feel that founders struggle with making good pitch decks when they start. It takes a disproportionate amount of time, which it should not take, because actually this is just a material to start your pitching process, and there's lots more to come. So I think over there, helping startups also understand, and as founders, many of us come from totally different backgrounds. We have no idea about GST, service tax, so many other regulations that exist in India. So it feels like a minefield and it feels scary. So I think some education around that. How to set up ESOP programs, not easy. So sometimes what happens is that these things are all needed to run your business.
Yeah.
But as founders, because we are so uninitiated,
Yeah.
we end up spending more than 50% of our time on these things. And if somebody could make that journey easier, we could spend more of that time on product building.
Yeah, yeah. No, I think super relevant, and I think that's what we're trying to do as well. Like beyond access to capital, can you actually help founders with a lot of these partnerships with route to market, GTM, and essentially a lot of these partners like legal and compliance, which can actually help save a lot of time for them and really help them scale.
Yeah, that'll be a blessing.
Amazing. We also have a partner for the podcast, and there's a company called Business on Board. They're one of the largest WhatsApp commerce companies in India, right? So again, I mean, what would be your thoughts? Like as a country, we're so comfortable with using WhatsApp as a platform, right? So and these like Business on Board helps brands with acquisition, retention, and better service, right? So do you think like WhatsApp commerce is going to grow, in the next few years from your vantage point?
Yeah, I feel just how when we launched CashKaro, we felt cashback had a very good product market fit for India. I think WhatsApp commerce has that same product market fit for India. In fact, we've started sending a lot of our notifications via WhatsApp, and the take rate on those compared to others is actually higher. So it is a very evolving, promising space. At the start, it might look a little expensive, but that's where, when you get to know a partner and talk to them, they can work out something which enables more businesses to experiment with it. Because I really think that businesses will see an uptick if they start doing that. And I wish all the best to Bot because they are in a very exciting space set to grow.
Yeah. Thank you so much, Swati, for this amazing and insightful chat. If you're a founder who's passionate about building the next big consumer business or e-commerce business from India, apply to the ACLR8 program today. We can't wait to be a part of your journey.
Yeah, and they're providing you more than capital. So advice with capital doesn't come as easy. So I would also encourage people to check it out. I get so many queries from founders for accelerator recommendations. So now this one's going to be top of my list.
Amazing.
Yeah, thank you. And all of you can go check out the CashKaro app.